Hi crafty friends, hope you're having a great day. Today I want to do another video in my beginning memory keeping series, and I would like to do this with you. So what I'm going to do is do this in sort of a bit more of a class format because I'm passionate about showing you how to easily get your photos on pages. I make lots of heavily designed layouts with lots of design details, but I also make lots of simple pages because I have a lot of photos and I want them on pages and into albums, and I think our albums can have both. And also I remember what it was like when I first started memory keeping. It was quite daunting because there are a lot of tools that we can use, a lot of techniques, and it all just gets a bit daunting, and I didn't know where to start. So I want to do this series to encourage you to just print a few of your photos off from your camera roll, print them off, and let's get started in memory keeping. So today you are going to need some photos. So these are photos of my children when they were young. My youngest child is 30, my eldest child is 33, so they are, I guess you would call them vintage right now. So I haven't scrapbooked these, I haven't put them into albums, they're just lying loose in my craft room, and I think in that instance they will just get lost, and at least if they're in an album I can look at them and I can show my children. Okay, so you need photos. Let's put that aside for a minute. You need DSP. So, or not just DSP, but you need some kind of pattern papers. And I've got two different sorts of pattern papers. We'll just put this aside for a moment. But I've got one paper pack that I'm going to make my hero, which is the True Blue 12 by 12 DSP paper pack. It is from the December product of the month from Stampin Up, and I can talk to you about that at another time. But it has beautiful blues, and I know they're florals, but who said boys can't have florals, huh? These are big florals, and they're kind of really pretty, so I thought I would grab that as my focus. My base page, I want to use a pattern because I quite often like patterned papers as a base page, but if you've got to do that, light color, light pattern. So this is a grey horizontal and it's got a bit of texture in there. I'm not sure you can see that. I think you can. That's from the Country Lace Country Lace collection from Stampin' Up. I don't think it's available anymore. However, I'm sure in your stash you have some plain textured base that you could use, papers that you could use as base page. Then we want some sort of coordinating cardstock. Not sure where we're going to put that at the moment, but that's always good to have. I've got some additional 6 by 6 papers just in case I want to build and have a pop of colour, because these are children's layouts, or sorry, photos. I actually want a pop of colour, and these would go well with what I've already got, because basically when you're doing simple layouts, for me it's the papers that add the embellishments. And I've just got a little assortment of bits and pieces. I've stamped some little tags out and things like that, that from a stamp set in my stash. I found this stamp set, which is, I think it was Play All Day or something, and that's a swing set, which will I'll show you, that might be able to be put on the page. I've got a bowl of embellishments here, and let's get started. Let's see how we go. So what we're going to do is start the very beginning. We're going to get everything out of the way so we've got some room and can see what we're doing. So I'm just going to move all of these papers out of the way. And I'm just, because this camera is not going to show you the two layouts side by side, the 2 pages side by side, I'm going to work on one and then the other. But I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Then we want to get our photos and we want to decide, we want to make some decisions. So what's going to go where, friends? How much are we going to crop? So I think that's going to be on the first page on the left side, and it may not even, in fact, I'm not going to put this is going to belong in another layout. It's not, there's too many photos, so I'm going to actually discard that one, and I'm just going to do the outdoor ones. And I might need to cull a few of my photos. So let's have a look. We can cut our photos down, and certainly you can see this one, friends. I'd cut this one down a little bit. But because these are vintage photos and I don't live in this house anymore, so what's around the photos is part of, for me, the story. So I don't want to trim too much off them. I don't mind. I don't need to see whoever's leg that is. So I can cut that off. That's fine. I don't need to see the tent, so I can cut that off. So that can become quite a slim photo. All I really need is the toy and the children. This one here, I'm not sure how much I'm going to trim. I do want to see Connor running and sort of doing that. So he's the focal there. Tom is the focal here, and I'm going to cut all this off. He's going to be quite small because I don't want to see the rubbish. See here the background. So this is our house in England, and we could see other houses behind, so that's part of the story. So these 2 photos show similar things in the background. So I might cut this one right down because I don't need to see the barbecue. It's more or less this bit here that I want to see as the background. So I might cut this one well down. And this one here, well, I've got swing sets in this one, so I don't need to have swing sets as the background here, and I can cut this one down. These ones are very, very similar. So I can keep that one and cut this one down as well, just to include the relevant bits. So that's how I'm going to start, friends. That's what we're going to do. It's making a decision about your photos and your papers. That's where we start. Now I'm going to what am I going to do next? Okay, so the thing I would do next is design it, and what I'm thinking of doing is I've already done it, actually started, so I've cut this in half, and I'm going to adhere that to the base page because we're going to have a repetition on both sides. So there we go. So, and I'm going to get rid of the bottom page, and I'm sitting down, friends, so I apologize if this goes off camera a little bit. Forgive me. It's quite warm today. Usually I would actually stand up, but I'm feeling a bit hot. It's 30 degrees and it's quite humid. We were going to go to the zoo today, but it was just too hot. Now I'm eyeballing it. You could line this up on a Versamat or something like that on your grid paper. I don't want to do that. I'm not interested in that. So I'm just going to eyeball it, but I am going to try and line it up as much as possible on this second page. There we go. So that we get as much lined up as possible. I'm not being too fussy because my pages live in D-ring albums, and D-ring albums, the pages aren't exactly side by side, so there's a bit of a gap between them. so they don't need to be completely side by side. Now this first one, I'm going to put the coordinating paper. I'm going to put the coordinating cardstock, and I think what I might do is make this 10 by 10. There we go. Now look, you could gut papers out so that you get to keep your papers, and you can do that. I'm not going to. I've got enough paper, friends, to probably make my own coffin out of, so I don't need to gut papers out and keep them and save them. What I need to do is use my papers, friends, so that's what I do. I don't tend to gut papers out, but you could. And what I mean by that is, see all of this behind here? You can't see that, so you could perhaps just use that and then have a bit on each side of the paper, you see here. So just have a little bit on each side if you want to. You could, and then save all of that middle bit if you want to. You could gut out in the middle of this paper here. You could gut out a bit in the middle on your trimmer, and I'll show you that one day. But as I've said, friends, it's not something I tend to do. Now I'm going to use the dark side. It's two-tone paper. So I'm going to use the dark side of this. Now this paper was one of my close to my heart ones. So these papers are Stampin' Up. They're something, oh no, you can't buy the country lace. I think that's been discontinued, but and the product of the month from December, I think you are able to buy that now if you, as a product of the month still, because I think it's still in stock, but we'll have to check that out. Now, okay, so I'm going to do something. I'm not going to do the same on the second side, so now I need to start layering, because I'm going to wait and see how I feel about what goes on this second side. So what do I want? What is my first photo? What is my most important photo? Okay, so, and I kind of do that, but then also it's like what fits. So I think there might be, there we go, and there we go. So I think these ones will go on this side, because we're going to cut them down quite a lot. And then the other ones will go on the other side. So let's start cutting these photos down, friends. Now there are lots of different sorts of trimmers. I have a Stampin' Up one. I also have a photo trimmer, but it makes a really loud noise, so I don't really want to use that on camera, because it'll be very annoying when I'm sitting on the couch at night. My husband gets quite annoyed at the sound of the trimmer, so we'll not do that. Now I want to keep the swing set. Now you can see where that stamp would be useful. There we go. I don't know if we'll use that, but I just loaded it onto a block just in case, and I'm happy with that. Now we want to get rid of a lot of this one, don't we? We don't want to look at those boxes. I think it's, yeah, actually it is. We had only recently moved into this house when that photo was taken. It was Connor's 6th birthday in March, and 1999, I think. I'm guessing, could be a different date, but that's what I'm guessing. And so it had only been a month since we'd moved in, and so there was still a lot of work to do. There we go. I do have a few from memory photos of this house, so I'm really happy cutting all of that background down. There we go. Because I like to see backgrounds and what was going on, and what our life was like. So I like to keep all of that. Okay, so we don't want too much. I don't want to trim it too close to the tint because that's the focal point. So this tint's quite a large photo, so I think that will be our focal photo. It's got Connor and Tom and Adam in there. So what we might be doing, that's perfect, friends. No, I want that one. I want them like this. Perfect. There we go. Very, very simple scrapbooking, friends. I did think that I would matte them, but I'm not going to. Yes, I am. I'm lying to you. I'm going to matte this one only because I have a feeling I might be matting the photos on the other side. I don't know. But because I want this to be the focal photo, even though the other photo is a large one, I want this one to stand out a little bit. And a good way of doing that is to just matte it. But I don't want all of them matted because I think then what will happen is that we will lose that coloured cardstock. So I apologise if me matting this is not on camera. I'm not going to stand up and have a look. There we go. And similarly, I am not reshooting this video. So hopefully, friends, it's all right for you. There we go. Let's have a look. Great. I really like that. Let's make a cup of tea, friends. Okay, lubricate the pipes, as they say. Now, I'm going to adhere this one down first. I'm really happy with that placement. That's the struggle. It's the placing your photos on your cardstock. And that's the bit I'm kind of like, what do I do? So what pattern do I use? I tend to use the same patterns all the time. But if you use the same patterns all the time, you're going to be using different papers anyway. So they don't always look the same. So that's one way. You could look on Pinterest, Facebook. There's all sorts of places that you could get scrapbooking patterns from. I tend to look at all of those things because that's something I just like to look at. But my designs tend to be inspired by just me. There we go. So I've put the photos down. You see that, friends? That's ready to embellish. And it's a very, very, very simple layout. There's nothing complicated about that. Now let's get on to the second page and then we can come back. So what I tend to do is scrapbook. I will put together one side up until the ready to embellish stage, and then I'll go and do the second side because that will give me a bit of an idea about what I want to do. And then I'll come back and I will do the second side. There we go. So let's cut these photos up, friends. Now we can see a bit of the garden, so we don't need to keep too much of the garden. We don't need the tent in there, but I'm going to keep that. I like that one. We have already got the swing set, so I don't need all of it, but Connor running and Abby just clinging on to the top there, yeah, we could have those. And I've got room on this side, so we can leave the slide because I haven't got that arrangement of play equipment, the slide, the trampoline and the swing set. I don't have that on the other side, so we're going to keep that. And then I'm going to lightly, there we go, I'm going to lightly crop this one and see if I can fit most of it in, because I'd like to keep that background. That background's really interesting me. Maybe I could cut off Alison's feet a little bit. I prefer not to be honest. Let's see where we go. So I think what I want to do is just mat these photos, and then I could sort of do them in a column like that. Okay, this one's the background. This one's the one I'm interested in, even though these have got more play. This has got an adult in it. This one is, to me, a bit more interesting. So it's going to be the focal of my second page. We all have different reasons we scrapbook. And I have different reasons why I scrapbook different photos. Sometimes when I'm out in nature, the landscape is the reason why I'm scrapbooking that one. These ones are a record of my history. They're my children. They are where I live. They are what I'm doing. So these ones are going to be cropped very, very differently than a scene. If it's a butterfly or a bird or a landscape or a rock or some water, it's going to be cropped a lot differently. Okay, so I think, does that fit in there? Oh, it's so close. Let's just trim. Let's trim just a tiny. We know Connor's got legs, don't we? We don't see his feet anyway, so I think we could, yes, that was fine. I do that, friends. I crop photos sometimes just a little bit further so I can use up the piece of paper, so I don't have to go in to another piece of paper. There we go. So let's have a look at this. Yeah, perfect. That's perfect, friends. There we go. Everybody's scrapbooking, everybody's memory keeping is different. So you do what suits you, friends. I'm just giving you some tips. And start out simple, friends. Don't complicate it. Make it really, really simple and get those photos on the page. That's your main priority. Here we go. So I found the photo. Nobody panic. And I cleaned my desk up before I filmed this, friends. Are you impressed? This year is the year I'm keeping my desk clear. I'm cleaning up after every single project so that when I come back next time, the desk is clear. This is the year that I'm going to put those habits into place. It's only February, so let's see how far we go with that kind of resolution. Now, I don't like the way I've cropped that, so it's going to be cropped just that little bit more. I need to shave off just a little bit more. I'd rather undercrop it and then shave it off a bit more later. So there we go. We have got, oh yeah, that's perfect, friends. I absolutely love that. There we go. Yep, that's how I want this. I actually want to mat that in something else as well. I'm going to mat, oh yeah, look at this, friends. How good's that? Or hang on, hold your horses. What would it look like with this? How could we do? Yeah, so that's what we could do. We could, let's cut this in half. Now hang on. Let's cut it in half. So it's 3. I'm just going off in a tangent here. But you can see, friends, I'm making the paper the embellishment. Gonna slide a bit off the end. I'm completely eyeballing it. I'm an eyeballer, so if you like a bit of precision, you could do that yourself too. That's fine. I think I need more off. I don't know. No, I don't want more off actually. I like that. And can you see that, friends? It looks like the paper goes all the way through. Oh, hey, I love that. Look at that. That looks amazing. Okay, I'm really happy with myself now. I am very happy. I'd be happy if I could get my words out straight, but let's not hope for too many miracles in one day, friends. Okay, so here we go. So we've got that. Yeah, that's about right. I'm thinking. Okay, that is pure guesswork. And then I'm going to pop this on here. Oh, friends, love it. Love, love, love it. There we go. I need a spot for journaling, and I think I might put it on this page. Yes, I'm going to put the journaling here, and I'm going to add a title off camera because it's a personal title, so I don't really want anybody to know what title it is. Now, the question is, friends, can you see on this layout here, can you see, I'm going to put these away now because we don't need them. So I've adhered everything. We have a white mat on that one, so we need a white mat on this side. However, I don't need that paper because here has that colour there. So I'm quite happy to just have that standalone, but I do want a white mat. Oh, yeah, perfect. I do want a white mat, and I think I'm going to mat that in white. Let's see. Does this? Nope, too small. If I didn't want to cut in to another piece, it's white paper, so I don't really care. I would just do that, but I don't care. It's just a white piece of paper. I've got heaps of that. So I'll get another white cardstock. I use white cardstock all the time. So I have it sitting out here, and because I'm talking to you and I know the video is getting long and I'm stressing a little bit, it's just not coming out. But I've decided, friends, it's up to you if you want to watch all of this, but it is a real time putting a layout together. So you can either watch all of it or not, or just speed through, or watch it. Oh, friends, watch it double time. You could do that, couldn't you? If you didn't want to sit through me waffling. There we go. Having said that, friends, have you subscribed to my channel? I'd love it if you would subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. It's really easy to do, and it's something that really helps me out. I'm absolutely loving bringing these videos to you, and I have a lot of plans for my channel this year. So I'd love it if you came along with me on this little journey and subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscribe button. That would be great. Thanks, friends. Okay, there we go. Can you see that, friends? How great does that look? That looks amazing. Really happy with this. There we go. So what I'm doing is just leave things not quite level. So that one there has just got a little bit here, and that's just a bit more pleasing to the eye. And this one here, I'm just going to adhere up just a little bit. And that again is a simple way of just making your page a little bit more interesting without adding heaps and heaps of embellishments. But you do you. If you like things all lined up, then you do it your way. Okay, so now swing, climb, jump. We want that. Where do we want it? I think we want it there. Really, really simply. Yes, I'm going to really, really simply embellish this. I think that will be a great spot for the, what am I trying to, my journaling. And I think, there we go. Yes, so I don't, What do you think? Where's it going to go? That's better. That's better. And yes, that's better. Okay, so we're going to pop the journaling now. And I've just stamped on a photo placeholder. I've actually just stamped a journaling box there. That side. And I'm going to call it good on this side, to be honest, because the title's going to go up. Oh, that actually would be a really good title. I don't think I need a title anymore. Let's see how I'm going. I reckon this side and then this side. Perfect. What do you think? Do you like that? It's really simple. I don't think I'll do much to this side. What have I got? Love to see you grow. No. What do I need here? Should I put, yeah, actually, does this work? Oh, there you go. That works. And then I'm embellished. I'm done. That's it. I'm calling it good. That's it. That's my embellishing. Like I said to you, it is very, very simple, friends. But the point of it is that I have got all of these photos on the page that have been sitting on my shelves and moved with me for a very long time. There we go. Look at that. This is the right side and this is the left side. I hope you like this, friends. I hope you like my explanation of how I get photos onto pages and all about simple scrapbooking. Give it a try yourself, friends. Print some photos off. Pop the photos on the page. Choose some papers. Cut and crop your photos and just do a simple layout. I'd love it if you tried this technique, and I'd love it actually if you took a photo and popped it in the comments. That'd be great. I'd love to see your work. So until next time, friends, subscribe to my channel, like my video. That'd be great. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye.